is? As always, I'll do it myself. Walking around telling people what a tariff is when he has no idea what a tariff is. Pay attention. Tariff. Are you ready? Do you have paper out? Let's go. Very simply, a tariff is a tax. Republicans didn't like those things. On imported goods that are coming into your country from another country. Goods. With me so far, Donald? Exhausting is what it is, teaching all the TikTok. All right, let's say there's a 3% tariff on iPhones. With me so far? Follow me. This 3% tax is by the U.S. government. They are putting this tax on iPhones. So let's say our iPhones are getting made in, I don't know, China. The 3% tax is not being pushed to China. China is not paying the import tax. Chinese businesses are not paying the tariffs. Are you with me so far? Smart people get it. It's the 3% tariff, the tax, actually goes to the business in the United States that is importing, bringing in the iPhones. So the tax, not on China, but on the U.S. business bringing in the merchandise. Denying this is denying all reality. Now the 3% tax on the U.S. business, or Canadian if we're talking about Canada, actually gets put on their merchandise. Do you think, A, the business absorbs the cost and they take less of a profit, or B, do you think they pass this cost off to the customer and increase the cost of the iPhone? You didn't say B. I really don't think you have any hope of understanding anything ever. So as tariffs go up, the cost of the product to the consumer goes up. China doesn't pay, the business doesn't pay, and Trump doesn't pay. Now, if the argument is they're going to raise tariffs to force manufacturing to come back to the United States of America so they can increase manufacturing on U.S. soil, fine. However, costs are going to go up because there's a reason manufacturers left the United States in the first place: to get cheap labor, no environmental regulations, no health and safety protection for the worker. The only way to bring this back to the United States and watch costs go down is to break unions, lower wages, ignore environmental regulation, and ignore health and safety. If you think that's for the worker, again, I can't help you.
This teacher seems angry and noticeably upset by what they are saying. If not, where's the passion coming from? The lesson is to define a tariff and explain that definition. This teacher did do that mostly. Sadly, not completely. The hostility showed this teacher's purpose was to present tariffs as bad. By choosing only to provide the first half of the definition, doing so changed their role as a responsible educator, fully informing pupils on the entire scope of information in order to teach what a subject is, rather than only persuading pupils to accept the presented perspective or ideal. When subject's matter is censored in order to reach partial conclusions, then the speaker ceases to be a teaching educator and becomes the presenter of beliefs or spokesperson for the ideology's propaganda. Any lecture given covering only one side of any issue is no longer giving lesson. They are making a speech in the form of a one-sided debate to prove the validity of the issue, with no risk of being proven wrong or misinformed. They are intellectually shadowboxing while being the source of light. Be wary anytime someone is only able to share their view with those that already agree, or only when the opposition is silenced if presented at all. They convincingly support any idea, no matter how incorrect, and the total lack of conviction that they even understand or believe what they say themselves. They use volume and emotion to seem certain of anything safely without providing superior reasoning and proof. The opposing or alternative view is demonstrably of lesser merit, value, or fact. One cannot lose if only facing what cannot fight back. The most recent example of this I've heard was a doctor stating that trans women assigned male at birth can conceive and have babies, boldly arguing this until asked how to treat a woman assigned male at birth for a life-threatening miscarriage, finally having to admit pregnancy is entirely impossible for those male at birth. Definition of tariff: any tax on goods and services imported into a country. It is typically used to increase the price of imported goods, making them more expensive than domestic goods and services, thus protecting domestic industries. Highlighted in red, you see the portion of the definition communicated exposing the objective of the speaker, to demean those who have a positive view of a tariff's use and purpose, as well as giving a irrelevant supposition conflicting parties intended to incur the tax with loss of revenue. Foreign parties face through causality overlooking identical result between direct expense cost and diminishing sales cost, and falsely assuming the only way to benefit sovereign finance as payment of said tax, ignoring the tariff's purpose as intending to reduce overall imported goods, replacing market imports with domestic, thus increasing domestic economy, categorically raising wages, employment, and currency's worth proportionate to goods and service pricing through compounded returns. In simple terms, even if it costs more to make. Here we pay ourselves the cost and profit through production, distribution, and sales, fueling our economy while losing no profits to foreign countries, which may give some savings on the purchase end, but provide no growth to the economy in any other way. Domestic products pay material production, manufacturing of product, internal transport of product, retail sales of product, and revenue from product. The illusion of items costing more is a false narrative because of the overall increase in the totality of the economy, while